All right. That was a painless commercial for you guys because, well, commercials are painless. If you're listening to us on radio, those were a bunch of great sponsors. And we ask that you patronize those folks because that's who keeps us on the air. If you weren't listening to it on radio, well then, for criminy's sake, you didn't even have to hear the commercial. So make sure that you patronize our sponsors anyway, because these are the guys that keep this program on the air, and it's important that you do so. If you're going to be in the West Plains area, swing by Wits End Classic Barbershop and get your hair cut for $10. They also do an old-style shave with a straight razor and the whole 9 yards. You walk in there, you feel like you're in a place that's, 50 or 60 years gone by. There's a chess set there, and, there's local fellas sitting around talking and, swapping lies about the biggest fish they caught and all that kind of thing. Great place to go. You feel like you literally step back 50, 60 years in time. Maybe more. It's Wits End Classic Barbershop. They're on the square in West Plains. You can get your hair cut there for $10. While you're at it, if you've got a husband or a boyfriend or a significant other, make sure you bring them down there. Maybe a father. Maybe Father's Day is coming up. It's a great opportunity for you to take them down there and pamper them with a hot lather shave that they do with the straight razor and the hot towel and the whole thing. So you can give them a call at 417-372-2027 and let them know you heard about it on America's Voice Now, and they'll make sure that they take really good care of you. I would encourage you to set up an appointment for that kind of a, full spa thing for your significant male other. Anyway, 417. Last time I did this commercial live, I said, bring your husband or your wife. Well, if your wife needs a hot lather shave. All right. So you might be part of the LGBT community. Man, that's PC or un-PC, huh? You can get over to see our friends at Wits End Classic Barbershop. 417-372-2027. They're on the square in West Plains. You can swing into the cigar shop behind them, by the way, if you'd like, while you're at it. Make sure that you see our friends at Battery Station. BatteryStation.com, 417-257-7799. And say hi to Kevin. Great friend, great man, good American patriot, man, a salt of the earth, and a true American hero. American Resume Service. They're supporting our program by donating the proceeds of their 50% off resume program straight to America's Voice Now to keep us on the air. AmericanResumeService.com, 417-264-2486. Info at AmericanResumeService.com. I sound like Captain Kirk from Star Trek. Make sure that you contact those folks. They've got 20,000 employed happy clients in the past 25 years, and they've got to be doing something right. They rewrite your resume, or if you don't have one yet, they'll help you build one from scratch. Mike's a good friend of mine. Make sure you tell him you heard about it on America's Voice Now, otherwise he won't know to apply the program for you. Their $200 resume package, $100. All right. So Operation Choke Point, what is it? Why do we keep seeing every effort made to strip the United States of its constitutional, and I want to, it's not constitutional permission, but it's constitutional basis for your God-given and your naturally given right to defend yourself and your country against tyranny and traitors. See, the House Oversight Committee is arguing about the DOJ, who's warring or waging an illegal war on guns with this Operation Choke Point. And the reason why they're doing it this way is because they can't ban them constitutionally. They're protected. So they just try to get at them another way. This administration and every one of them before them, I'm not leaving anybody out. They're all traitors. Both parties, everybody's guilty. They're all determined to strip you of your ability to defend your nation against them. See, we don't even care about the personal safety of some wayward criminal. Let's just put that out of the discussion for a minute, because they surely don't care about that. They're not interested in you not having a weapon because they want you to be injured, or they don't care one way or the other. You're just a cog in a wheel. You're one grape among billions. That's the way they look at it. And some grapes are going to get bruised and busted, and they don't care. That's how they look at you. What they are interested in is making sure that you don't have the ability to defend yourself against them. California's passing a brand new anti-gun bill that will take things to a whole new level. They're saying you cannot even make your own weapon. Now, the ATF, as far as I'm concerned, is an act of treason, period. You cannot have a Second Amendment that says shall not be infringed, and then a group called the ATF that's whole job is to infringe. End of argument. Right? You can't have two diametrically opposed forces occupying the same space. Doesn't work. If this elephant is sitting here and another big fat elephant walks over and wants to sit there, you can't have two elephants that occupy the same space. One elephant has to push the other elephant out of the way. It's the way it works. That's just the laws of physics. And you cannot have an anti-gun organization like the ATF whose sole job is to infringe and a Second Amendment which says nothing may infringe. They can't coexist in the same time and space. Now, even the ATF has ruled that anyone can make their own gun. You're not required to have a permit or a license or anything else. You don't even have to put a serial number on it. As long as it's you're making it for yourself. Most Americans don't even realize that. You know why? Because the mainstream Ministry of Propaganda doesn't want you to know that. But you can. You can go out and buy the parts and make your own gun. There's no serial number required on it. They can pick it up and look at it and say, hey, why doesn't that have a serial number? And you can say, because I built it. Proudly in my home basement garage. Or my garage. And there's nothing they can say about it legally, because you are allowed to do that. Even according to their draconian laws and rules. Now, you're allowed to do it anyway, but that's a whole story. Whole different story. Here's my point. In Commifornia, they're now going to make it illegal for you to make your own gun. I mean, as if they can, do with an act of legislation, do away with an act of legislation, that which nature and God and even the law of tyrants allows you to do. What part of shall not be infringed doesn't Commifornia get? You see, you need to understand why these rights are important to you. And I've gone over this gun thing with you guys many times. Now, the Department of Justice is using a new Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation regulation. This is the FDIC, who says, if you put money in the bank, it's guaranteed and all that kind of crap. We all pay for it as taxpayers, right? And the FDIC is listing businesses that sell guns as high risk. Now, that includes not just gun sellers, but any company who sells ammunition as well. And what else they list as high risk are stuff like pornography, tobacco sales, racist materials, blah, 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 blah. Anybody who runs a head shop, anything along those lines. Now, that's legal justification for discrimination on the part of banking, because they can say, well, you're a high-risk business, therefore we don't have to accept, transactions through you. So it's a legal justification for what? For you to be persecuted. For discrimination. What is wrong with selling tobacco sales, racist materials, or pornography? It's a free country, or at least it's supposed to be. I mean, you don't have to agree or disagree with any of these things to know that it's not your right to determine whether someone can or cannot buy them. You don't have to be a drinker to recognize that there's a right for legal liquor stores to exist. I don't drink personally, very rarely, but and I don't agree with people who do drink excessively. But it's not my place to tell anyone that they can or cannot. I'm not a racist. But if you are, that's on you. Has nothing to do with me. And by the way, the world is full of reverse racists, and all you got to do is go look at any one of these organizations that's out there touting, white privilege and all that nonsense to know that, listen, they're entitled to their opinion too. I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but it doesn't mean that it's my place to say to them they can't have that opinion. Pornography. If you want to sell Playboy, I saw an article the other day about a place that was a city that would put a ban on sexual toys, AIDS, right, whatever you want to call them. You know what? Who is a city to say you cannot sell that? And who is a city to say that you as a citizen can't buy that if that's what you want? I mean, it's insane. Whatever happened to the concept of free will, self-determination, self-reliance, self-governance? Now they're adding guns to the list and ammunition. And, if they want to follow along in good suit, they're going to make hunting knives part of it too. They won't bar you from being able to buy a kitchen knife. But, after that idiot in Isla Vista or California, wherever the heck he was, where he stabbed 3 people to death first and then, shot 3 people and ran over a couple of them. What are we going to have, a ban on cars and steak knives next? All food has to be soft because you can't have a knife to cut it. There's no more steak. It just comes in a tube. Squeeze it out like toothpaste. The House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform has released a report that is exposing and arguing that the DOJ is continuing these efforts against firearms and ammunition sales under the guise of this Operation Choke Point. The DOJ action ostensibly aimed at credit and financial fraud, but what it really is a thinly veiled excuse to choke out businesses that the Obama administration finds objectionable. They're pressuring banks to stop doing business with anyone they consider a high-risk business. So, God forbid you run a Quick Stop, or a whatever, and you sell, Playboy magazine. Suddenly, your bank's going to come up and say, "Sorry, we can't take your credit card transactions anymore." Oh, you sell cigarettes, we can't take your, in your store, we can't take your credit card transactions anymore. You sell ammunition, that's it, you're done, you finished, we can't take your credit card transactions anymore. They're using Operation Choke Point, and this is according to Darylisa, to conscript banks to do their bidding. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is government abuse of power in a way, shape, and form that all of us are familiar with, and nobody seems willing to stand up and stop. I don't know where we go from here. There was an article I posted this morning from the New American about how the Democrat and Republican parties, the left and the right, are working together to rewrite the Constitution. I encourage you to read the article. It's on thenewamerican.com. Or just type in "working together to rewrite the Constitution." You'll see it on your search engine. The duopoly of the Democrats and the Republicans, they're working hard. That's their phrase, right? How many times have we heard a politician standing up there? "We're doing the hard work of Congress. We're working hard for the hard-working American people." Love it. Go get me another cigar and a scotch, please. We're working hard for the hard-working American people. Well, the only thing they're working hard at, folks, is to enslave you by crafting legislation that contains every form of a hidden trap they can muster, because they want to apply it under selective prosecution. Like, selectively, they don't prosecute the illegals, but they prosecute you for jaywalking. See, if you're a player, or you're a crony, or you're a pal of the administration, if you've fundraised for them, if you've gathered cash together, if you've, bullied, coerced, or bribed political officials, and as long as it worked towards achieving their goals, you're fine. But if you run afoul of these two spawns of treason, that would be the Republican and the Democratic parties, well, then you're going to get it good and hard. I think that I don't know where it came from, but there used to be a phrase out there, when I lived in the East Coast, and everybody talks kind of like with a little bit of an accent, and they used to have a thing that, the hard guy would walk up, he said, "Hey, you mess with the bull, you get the horns, hey." And that's what it's come down to, ladies and gentlemen. A gangster nation. And you mess with the bull, and you're gonna get the horns. Is that what your father, your grandfather, your uncle, is that what they died for on the island of Iwo Jima? Is that what they died for on the beaches of Normandy? Is that what they died for in the Battle of the Bulge? Is that what they died for in Vietnam or Incheon? Maybe it was somewhere in France during World War I. Maybe it was somewhere right here in the United States of America between 1860 and 1865. Maybe it was some long-past relative you don't even know you have. And it was somewhere between 1776 and 1780. See, the truth of the matter is that 3.5 million Americans have died fighting for your right to be free. And that's that we're not counting those who lost a leg or an arm or an eye or their mind. We're just talking about those who actually are horizontal and no longer vertical. 3.5 million of them. And these spawns of treason, these spawns of Satan, and you can take that in a biblical or a generic evil connotation. I don't really care how you take it. This is the spawn of hell. Because all they're interested in is enslavement of you. And they don't care who they step on. They don't care what kind of Machiavellian practices they have to employ. The ends justify the means. Whatever we have to do, it's all acceptable. All's fair in war and war. This administration has no problem doling out grants and sending these administrative agency heads running around who are actually standing there running campaigns and at taxpayer money to go out to different campaigns and speak on behalf of, you got this pig here from the I can't even remember what the administration or what administrative agency he's with. They're going out there and they're campaigning on behalf of Mary Landrieu at taxpayer expense. Who volunteered us to pay for that? Giving out taxpayer grants. Just vote for us and you'll get plenty more of where this came from. And both parties do it, folks. They're not interested in you. You don't matter. To the sommelier, he doesn't look at the individual grapes that went into the bottle of wine. He looks at the wine, the end product that's been sitting in a bottle, aging. He's not interested in the actual individual grape. He doesn't know the name of that grape. He doesn't know the history of it. He doesn't know where it came from. I mean, he may have a vague idea, some vineyard in France or something. Maybe Southern California. But the trials and the tribulations and the growth and the history of that particular individual grape don't matter. It's just one grape of many that were coalesced together to create this bottle of wine. And even the farmer who's growing the grapes, he's not interested in the individual grape. They're just a collection of grapes. Some will have to get destroyed and crushed while we collect them. Some will get bruised. Some will rot. Some will be cast aside as undesirable. You are, to these people, and I'm talking about the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, I'm talking about the Bilderbergers, I'm talking about, the Council on Foreign Relations, I'm talking about the corporatocracies that run the nation and that run the planet. To you, these people, they're vague. They're kind of on the outside periphery of our vision. It's like they're there, but they're behind a veil of smoke. We can't quite see who they are and what they are. We can hear they're talking, but we can't quite hear the tone of what they're saying. We can't, it's like someone who's lost their hearing aid, and we can see the lips moving and you can hear the mumbling, but we cannot make out the words. They, on the other hand, are looking back at us, and they see nothing but a resource. They don't look at you and see your sweet child. They don't look at you and see those tears on your face of a father who's lost a son. They don't look on you and see the mother who cries for her daughter. What they see is a human resource to be molded, managed, manipulated. You're too stupid and unsophisticated for your own good. You don't even know what's good for you. The hubris, the universal, astronomical hubris of that thought. Because you just want to be left alone to live your little life, and it's okay. Used to be a country song out there, it's okay to be itty-bitty. I don't care if you don't like country. Go look this one up on YouTube. It's called It's Okay to Be Itty-Bitty. And the lyrics run along the lines of it's okay if you just live a small life. That you just have, your little cabin out there, or your little garden, and you just live in your little plot of postage stamp ground in town, and you're happy clipping your lawn, and you don't have to be racing around trying to build billions. Not everybody can be that. Not everybody wants to be that. Not everybody should be that. And it's okay if you don't have a high-minded job where you're in the newspapers every day. It's okay if you're just a plumber and you come home and you hug your wife, you kiss your kids, you play a little ball in the backyard. It's okay to be itty-bitty. But these people, they say no. You don't know what you don't know. And you say, yes, I just don't desire those things. Great. Then you go to the left line. Why can't we just be left alone? Why can't we just do what we want to do? Why do we have to be herded and manipulated? There's plenty for those people that want all of that. Because it doesn't stop with all that. Like the cannibal who gets the taste of flesh and begins to like it, there's no going back. You've been listening to America's Voice Now. Communicate with me directly at mike@americasvoicenow.org. That's mike@americasvoicenow.org. Share these videos or clips out of them with your friends, people that you know. Be a leader. Lead other people. I don't care if it's just you or your son or your wife or your husband, or whether you're the leader of a large community, you are a leader. You're not, you're not just an anonymous face in the crowd. God bless you. Have a great weekend. Be safe, America.